What up, what up, what up, everybody? It's your boy Dion, BigKid, man. Just out here doing my thing in the DR once again. I'm actually right here in Puerto Plata. I'm about to walk past the sign and show you guys. Out here having a blast, but I just wanted to talk about how I ended up in the DR in the first place. I could have went a lot of places for my birthday, but why did I choose to come here to the DR for my birthday? There's the sign right there. Let me jump in front so I can see it a little bit. There we go, there we go. So we here, Puerto Plata, on the north side this trip. The last trip, I started down in Santo Domingo, really just because the flights were cheaper to land down there. But this time I wanted to come up here, meet some people who I'd previously connected with and just kind of see how they be living up here, which in reality is a little bit different than Santo Domingo. Obviously, you know, this is my opinion, but I think Santo Domingo is more of like a big city vibe. It's more of like, you know, what you would experience basically like what you would experience in like Tampa or something like that, maybe even like Ciudad de Mexico. But give you a little panoramic. So this is where we at. Obviously got the mountains behind us, but up in Puerto Plata is, I would say, a little bit more family centric, if that makes sense. So a lot less about the tourist activities being central to what the city is. You know, this city is central to, you know, family life, you know, budget, just living, you know. So it'd be like, as opposed to somewhere like Orlando, it would be more like one of the districts back up in the neighborhoods. I forget, like by Orlando, what that would be, because there's a lot of touristy places in and around Orlando. But this place that I'm at right here is a very famous touristy place, nonetheless. It's the Puerto Plata, in English, Puerto Plata boardwalk or photo walk. So it's just a ton of places where you could take really cool photos, and I thought this would be a great place to talk about how I ended up here. But I'm walking up on a very iconic view. Let me give you guys a couple looks. Let's just wrap for a second here. So, you know, when I was originally coming here, like I said, I landed in Santo Domingo. This was a few months ago. I came down, and that trip was really just recon. It was literally just trying to figure out like where I wanted to kind of shop for vacation properties. And so, yeah, if I back up a little bit, that's where all of this started. I was considering selling my house back home and purchasing a vacation property in some place. I didn't know. Now, I'm a frequent traveler to Florida. For those who know me, that's where I travel to the most. And, you know, as much as I love Florida, it is starting to get expensive, especially get a good property there. So that's when I started kind of considering like, well, what else is out there? I have been to Puerto Rico at that point. I was like, well, you know, Puerto Rico is like this because Puerto Rico is U.S. territory. Puerto Rico is really expensive now. there's still, you can still get some stuff, but it's expensive in comparison to like certain places in Mexico and certain places in the DR. So that's what got me kind of interested in coming down, you know what I'm saying, taking a look around, see if there was anything that I might be interested in. Some of those mountains are crazy high back there. Hello. Okay. But as you just kind of witnessed there, that's kind of the difference. Look at these views here. That's really insane. But kind of the difference for me between Puerto Rico and the DR is the people. Puerto Rico is a beautiful island. There's tons of stuff to do. There's a lot of beautiful people there, very beautiful women. Anyway, my point of what I'm trying to say is that it's very difficult to consider living in a place where I don't feel comfortable around the people. And me personally, I don't know what it is about Puerto Ricans that they're not as friendly. Hello. There we go. Get a smile. Ooh, the people here got nasty attitudes. Nasty. Maybe it's that, you know, the other rich celebrities went down there and kind of spoiled it for us. I don't know. So yeah, I was there in Puerto Rico, and I'm looking at Puerto Rico, and I'm saying to myself, yo, this thing is really, really nice. Let me flip this around and check something real quick. Y'all get a nice view anyway. Okay. Let's share. Okay. I just wanted to make sure this little holster wasn't in the shot. But, you know, I'm looking at Puerto Rico, and I'm saying to myself, like, man, this is an amazing place. I would love to, you know, live in a place like this, or at least like have a property there that I could come back to. I think this is my entrance point right here. So it's not bad, you know, it's not extremely gapped, but I can get up and down from here. I'm athletic enough to pull it off. I mean, look at these views, man. It's a great view everywhere, isn't it? Sheesh. But here are, and I'm gonna turn this around for this part as I'm walking down so you guys can see what I'm seeing. So here are the main differences between the Dominican and Puerto Rico. Number one is definitely the trash. Puerto Rico, I don't know, they take pride in, I mean, there's quite a bit. Look at that. Different stuff down here. But this is basically the same body of water, so the aesthetic is very similar. So the pros of Puerto Rico are definitely the islands or the beaches are a lot cleaner. So far, now I haven't explored a lot of beaches in Puerto Rico, I mean in Dominican Republic, but so far I would argue that there's more marine life on the beaches in Puerto Rico than there is in the Dominican Republic. Now again, y'all can correct me in the comments if I'm wrong about that, but I haven't seen crabs walking around, you know, on the rocks. I haven't seen a whole lot of you know, snakes and just different marine life, even birds. I mean, where are all the birds at, you know? But I'll tell you, everywhere I went in Puerto Rico, I saw marine life on the beaches. And I have video of myself in Puerto Rico, so I'll maybe throw some of that in there. Got the views, man. The second thing I think is really different is the people. Like I said, I think the people in the Dominican Republic are a lot friendlier, a lot more willing to talk to you. Not even on like trying to sell you stuff. Although I would say the majority of the people that are talking to you here in the DR, they're trying to sell you something, especially if you look like a tourist. So if you look like a tourist and you're here, you're one of those people that you want to get that social attention. You want people to socialize with you. You're going to have a better experience in the Dominican Republic, just because if you're a tourist, they want to talk to you. And if you end up not spending any money with them, they'll still talk to you. It's not like, oh, you don't have any money, so forget you. It's more like, hey, do you want to buy something? Oh, you don't want to buy something? Well, where are you from? You know, it's like that.
What's your name?
Dion.
Dion. My name Javier.
Javier.
Yeah.
Wow. So it's very, very friendly, very sociable people. There's a ton of cruise ships out here today. So let's get a good look. So there's one. And then if I pan, so I'm going to zoom out. If I pan all the way over here, here's another one. Right back there. So there's a ton of cruise ships over here. So if you want to cruise back and forth to the United States, that's another thing I would say. The Dominican Republic there's a port here where cruise ships come. So you can literally take a ship very affordably back and forth to the United States from the Dominican Republic. Like I said, Puerto Rico, beautiful women, beautiful beaches, very clean. It's a very clean island. At least in San Juan, that's where I was at. If you've been to a different part or you were in a different part, it looked dirty or whatever, I haven't been there. But San Juan, very clean beaches, didn't see a whole lot of trash. And all the beaches I went to, it felt very American friendly. Dominican Republic is more raw. It's more unfiltered. It's not as well kept. That's a good and a bad thing. It's a good thing because, it keeps the price down. It's a bad thing because it's not as pleasant. It's still very beautiful. I mean, these are top tier beaches. This is the Bahamas, the Caribbean. It's as nice as it gets. You know what I'm saying? Like, you might find another place like this, but it ain't gonna be much better. I mean, you're talking about some of the most tropical stuff you could imagine. Let me get an angle on this so you can see. I mean, it's extremely tropical here. You know what I'm saying? So you're not gonna get, better beaches per se. You might get, you know what I'm saying, cleaner beaches, but in terms of the natural aesthetic, I mean, it's top tier. Hey, look, women in Puerto Rico, women in DR, they both speak Spanish. So you're not going to get much difference there in terms of the language. They speak it a little different. In Puerto Rico, their words mesh together a lot more, so it's harder to understand what they're saying at first. But they're both speaking Spanish. So language ain't going to be no different. Really, the difference is their friendliness. And I think the women here are a lot more down to earth and a lot more friendly. Of my experience, I've been to both. Outside of that, I think the Dominican Republic has a lot more undeveloped land that's starting to be developed. I was just in Sosua this morning, hanging out with my lady, and I know about the whole pros thing, and trying to get the girls up there and stuff. The government has busted a lot of that stuff up, so now it's really a place for families, tourism, and they're just cleaning it up. And I think, this is just my thoughts on it, maybe I'll do this as a separate video, but I think they're getting ready to invest a lot of money into Sosua. and that's why they wanted to clean it up first, so that when it's developed, the developers don't lose their investment. But if you want girls, there's still girls. You know what I mean? You can still find girls in Sosua, Puerto Plata, Santo Domingo, in cualquier lugar. Wherever you are, you can find them. That's not an issue. What else can I say? I think there's a lot of expats here in the DR. A lot of people moving here, not just because of the military and stuff like that, but also because of what's going on in the United States right now. A lot of people are just fed up. I actually met a girl yesterday in the bus stop because I was in Santo Domingo yesterday and came up here, and she stopped me and was like, "Hey, are you from the United States?" Looking for people. And we were talking for a little bit, and she was just basically telling me that she's living in Florida and she's just tired of the politics and all the stuff that's going on. And quote unquote, she said, "United States is cooked. You need to get out of there." And I was just laughing because it's I'm already thinking the same thing, but my approach is a lot more strategic. I've been planning what I'm going to do for 3 or 4 years. When I had discovered Florida, it was pretty much a wrap. It was I have to live in a place like this or better, like Florida. And frankly, where'd that boat go? So there was another boat that must have turned and ported right over here behind me. I didn't even realize it. I thought they were coming straight towards me. So there must be a port really close here. But anyway, as far as the United States being cooked or whatever, I don't know if it's cooked. I think it's going to have to go through a cleansing. And I think that will probably take place over the next 20, 25 years. It's not going to happen in one president sitting. But it's really the direction that the United States goes is really going to depend on who gets elected next. Because the mentality, the sentiment of the people is going to really dictate who gets elected. And that sentiment, whatever the overarching sentiment is, we're kind of headed. Whatever direction the next president is going to be our response to Trump. If we're going to be a nation that's about trying to make it like it was before, or if we're really tired of people like Trump being president, and we're gonna find out. If you want my personal opinion, we can talk, but I'm not gonna air out my personal stuff. All right. So when it comes to the living situation, it's connected because a lot of people are just moving here just because they're tired of the way the country's being ran and the different things that are going on. So if that's something you're into, if you want to live where a lot of expats are moving, I would say the DR is a better option. If you go to Puerto Rico, that's a U.S. territory, so you're going to get at least some elements of the United States mixed in there. The inflationary things. It's very expensive in the PR. The Puerto Rico is probably the most expensive trip I've ever been on. And I've been Puerto Rico, I've been Peru, Lima, I've been to, South America, I've been to Mexico, and, and obviously all over the United States. And yeah, the most expensive trip was Puerto Rico by far. And that was a group trip, so we were sharing costs. So costs, I would say Dominican Republic is better than Puerto Rico or Florida. Say aesthetics, there's trash on the beach, but it's in touristy areas. If you get away from touristy areas, that tends to drop off a lot more, and you get some of these nicer beaches. Real estate is extremely affordable here. I just toured a property. I put a little snippet of it up while I'm talking. That was in the 200s. And was incredible. So, swimming pool, view of the ocean, everything, for in the low 200s. So I think real estate is more advantageous here in the DR. I think in Puerto Rico, you're going to pay a lot more for real estate. And what else? They have two international airports, three actually. I think Puerto Plata, Santo Domingo, and Punta Cana. They all have international airports that fly from different countries in and out. Here in Puerto Plata, you have the cruise ships. There's a lot of, I mean, you're not going to lack for anything. They're getting ready to build an Amazon center here in the Puerto Plata area. I think it might even be in the north. It might be in Santo Domingo. I can't remember what I saw, but definitely in the Dominican Republic, there's going to be an Amazon hub. And so you will be able to order all of the same stuff you can order in the United States here. So just those reasons and many more, I just think the DR, if you want to move out of the United States, is a better option than Puerto Rico. And the reason why I'm comparing it is because, like I said, I was looking at Puerto Rico, and it's still a U.S. territory. You just deal with all the inflation. You deal with all that extra stuff that you would have in the United States. The people there, in my opinion, San Juan, I don't know about the rest of the island, but in San Juan, people were not very friendly to me. I did not feel welcome there. They'll take your money, but I didn't feel like they wanted me there. You know what I mean? Like here, I feel like the people want me here. You know what I mean? Like I feel like invited to the party. Whereas there, I feel like here, you know, give me your money. Here's the stuff and go on your way and go do your stuff. But here, I feel like, oh, what are you doing tonight? You know, here, you should come back and hang out with us. Oh, I mean, the girls that I talk to, they're down. Like there's, first of all, a lot of single women here, but they're down to hang out too as friends. I know a lot of guys who have a lot of friends down here. Girls they dated or whatever, they split up and they still keep in touch. They help them with real estate. They help them with this. They help them with that. So my estimation, the DR is the perfect balance of not too far from the United States, still in that Florida type of vibe, actually slightly better. You get the tropical waters, you get the women, you got the beaches, you've got the food, you've got the international hubs, you've got access to all of the other stuff, all the amenities that you want in the United States. Now, in certain pueblos up in here, the power cuts off a lot. So you'll want to research that if that's something that you're considering. But outside of that, I think it's a great option. All right. So I'm going to wrap this video up. Just wanted to, like I said, I'm just trying this thing out, seeing if, you know, this YouTube thing is going to be a thing for me or not. I'm chilling, you know, I got my beach vibe going, my Miami Vice, you know what I'm saying? I am, you know, I'm in this season of my life where I have some options, you know what I'm saying, where I can decide some things. And so I just want to share that with you guys. I see somebody over there parasailing. That's wild. That's crazy. It's wild down here, but yeah, it feels just like Puerto Rico, honestly, except for the trash. Trash is the only thing that I just shake my head at. And I gotta keep my head on the swivel, you know, to see like somebody trying to come and sell me something. That's another thing here. I've never felt unsafe. I would just say that. I've never felt unsafe here. So if you're like worried if you're gonna feel unsafe, obviously there's bad parts in every country, in every city. There's bad parts. So you just don't want to be walking around aimlessly at night. But I've never felt unsafe here. You know, as long as you move around in places that are public where people can see you or if you build some allies here, they'll help you to know where to go. Yeah, don't be moving around no new country that you don't know or any city. Just up in the barrios or whatever, like in the barrios or the pueblos, like don't be that person, because when people figure out that you're a tourist, then now you're rolling the dice, you know. But if you stay in touristy places, populous areas like where I'm at right now, there's cameras, there's police everywhere. I mean, when I walked up here, there was police on the corner. This is a very public area where I'm at right now, and I stay in public places when I'm by myself. If I'm with somebody here local and they know their way around, then you can go a little bit deeper back in the areas. But if you don't know where you at, don't do that. Don't be stupid. So, all right. And that's here in Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico, I felt like I never felt unsafe, but I was in touristy areas. I didn't know anybody in the PR, so we stayed in very popular areas. Even like we went back in the pueblos, and we stayed like over there they say barrio, but even back there we stayed like at popular restaurants, that a lot of tourist people go to. So those are well paved, traveled streets. There's a lot of police presence and all of that stuff. So that's just a little thing, just a reminder. Don't be doing that. All right, but yeah, I just want to share with you guys. Let me know what you think of the content too. I'm still trying to figure out if I want to make this a thing or if it's just gonna be, a little stint for me. But traveling, that's the thing. Like I said, I was here 3 months ago. I hadn't even posted nothing about that at the time that I recorded this video. Maybe I'll post, but I just be chilling when I go places. I don't even worry about like trying to be cool on social media no more. I didn't grown up from that. If I post, I post. If I don't, I don't care. Like if I want to post something from my trips, I'll post it. But I'm not making content to try to post. I'm just making it because it's something I want to experiment with. You know what I mean? Hopefully that resonates with somebody out there. But I'm going to wrap this video up. I'm Dion, by the way. Nice to meet you all. Hopefully I meet some of you guys in person. I like having a good time, chilling out. I'm like, in my upper 20s mode. If you're like that 20 to 25-year-old party traveling stuff, I'm not your guy for that. But when you get to that like lower 30s vibe where you're trying to chill, maybe have your girl with you and have a group of people to go do some good stuff with and be in the nicest places, that's what I'm about now. All right, so if you want to travel like that, leave a comment below. I'm super excited to hear back from everybody as I kick off this channel. I'm BigKid, man. I'm a big kid. So that's what I'm going by, as BigKid on YouTube. And so, like I said, nice to meet all of y'all. And we'll see you guys in the next video. All right, peace.